And welcome back to Boom and Bust. I'm your host, Tony Clement, here with Corinne Pohlmann. She is the Canadian Federation of Independent Businesses Executive Vice President of Advocacy. Corinne, let's broaden it out even further. I'd love to get a sense, because you, as you say, you do these surveys of small businesses, medium-sized enterprises on a regular basis on a range of issues. Love to get your sense, just putting it all together, what the business climate is across the country these days.
It's not great, to say the least. We have seen, I think, still a fairly lagging sense of optimism among small business owners. It has been coming down and has been fairly low for the last, I'd say, 6 months. We've seen little tidbits here and there of maybe a bit more positivity starting to come back, but I think it's a struggle for many. We've also seen bankruptcy statistics are high. They were up over 30, 40, 50% year over year over the course of the first several months of this year. We know business closures are higher than business openings at the moment. So it's that day of reckoning almost that's come. You know, people are making decisions that are not easy decisions to make because they just can't make it go any longer. When you come out of 2 years of having pretty difficult circumstances, you go straight into basically shortage of labor, high interest rates, and low consumer demand. It can take a toll on many small businesses, and that's what we've been seeing, I think, over the course of the last several months. We may come out of the other side a little bit, hopefully, in the next few months, but it's been a tough go for many small businesses right across Canada.
Yeah, and I think you alluded to the fact that this has been a trend, more or less since COVID. So it's not just a 6-month or 1 year trend; it's a 4 or 5 year trend at this point. You mentioned interest rates, higher interest rates. Obviously, that's something that has afflicted us for about 1.5 years now. Maybe just delve a little bit more deeply into that, how that affects small businesses in particular.
Yeah, I mean, we know that about 70% of small businesses that have loans have a variable rate loan, which means as interest rates went up, so did their payments, just like if you have a mortgage, right? And you have a variable mortgage, you saw your interest rates go up your payments go up as interest rates went up. It's the same thing with small business owners, and 70% of them are facing that. We've seen interest costs at an all-time high among our membership. So that is something as well that we're watching pretty closely. So yeah, it's significant, and all of these costs are in addition to costs of insurance, higher new cost, taxes going up, of course, and so it's and of course labor costs have been going up as well. We've seen minimum wage increases in most provinces across Canada. Plus, in order to attract labor, you're automatically going to try and do more on that front. So it is a challenge right now for many small businesses. Interest rates just being one piece of it.
Sure. No, I get it. You mentioned bankruptcy rates. Let me just return to that for a second. Is that kind of like the canary in the coal mine? Is that something that illustrates maybe a downturn coming, or what's your sense of things?
I think it's almost, the other side of it, it's sort of the last thing people will do. They're going to hold on as long as they can as things sort of get into a very difficult, precarious time. And many of them don't ever go bankrupt. They just start closing their business, which is why we watch business closures and bankruptcies at the same time, because
right.
Bankruptcy is really an extreme sort of thing that you have to go to if you really owe a lot of money. Others will just sort of make the decision that it's just become too difficult, and therefore they just close their business silently. So we look at those two measures, and I think this is a part of the fallout of COVID, part of the fallout of high costs, high interest rates, and high taxes, to be honest.
Yeah. What are you hearing about taxes?
Well, I mean, we've seen CPP go up for the last 5 years in a row. We've seen EI go up. We've obviously seen carbon taxes go up significantly. We have seen things on certain sectors like the alcohol escalator taxes. And that's just the federal side, right? So we haven't seen as much on the provincial side, but even on the provincial side, you still have to pay your WCB premiums. You still have to pay your PST in certain provinces. So it has been a real challenge for small firms from all levels of government, not to mention property taxes if you own your own building. That's another area that's seen some increases in the last few years. So yeah, It's
Right.
It's not easy.
We're going to have to leave it at that, Corinne. Thank you so much for coming on the program. Very interesting to get that small business perspective, and we wish you and your members well.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.